Welcome to the Ska History Hour with your hosts, Jose Rojas and myself, Daryl Rubio. Our guests today are members of Red Session from Hawaii and California. Please introduce yourselves and your position in the band, please.
Okay, my name is
Um,
Shalika Drake, and
you go on,
I'm Shalika Drake, and I'm the singer. Jamie.
I'm Jamie. I'm the guitar player. A guitar player.
I'm Chris. I play bass and yell.
And yeah. Well, that's great to hear. We want to first start off with let us know the years that your band was prevalent till. I know you guys started in the 90s. How long do you guys go for and um, what happened?
I'd say we were probably together as a solid unit until probably early 2000, and that's when I moved back to Honolulu. And then we got together for a reunion show in 2002, which would have been the last time we played. But we've all been in touch, and we've always been a family unit of sorts. And so yeah, it would have been up until 2022 that we were gigging, and then it's been 23 years since.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, I think we started somewhere around like 92, 93, 92, if my memory serves me correctly. If I place certain like things, like I remember I was in photography. No, I wasn't in photography. It was my first design class and learning how to use Photoshop. And then I started making flyers for the yet unnamed band.
Yeah, because we
Yeah, I
went to
think
the same college. Like I used to see Chris around. I first saw Chris when we were giving blood. I'll never forget that day.
Oh.
wow, that's poetic.
Yeah,
Yep.
I was scared as shit. I had no idea what was going to happen. And I looked over and there's leaks. And then she like got up and ran away because she was done. And I was like, oh, fuck. Oh. And then it was nothing. And then it was like, it was easy. So I continued doing it for a while.
Did they give you a donut afterwards?
I think it was cookies.
Juice and cookies.
Whatever.
hmm
I think here they give T-shirts and tickets, movie tickets sometimes too.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Now, where does the band name Red Session come from?
That is a matter of some apocryphal origins. It really doesn't mean anything. A lot of people have ascribed various meanings to it, but we had been practicing one night. We had landed a couple of gigs, and probably our one of our first bar gigs, and we actually needed a name to put on the flyer because we had been playing at house parties for, I don't know, a year or so. And so we used to practice at a beach park, stealing electricity from the city. And so we had finished playing, writing songs in this beach park, and we were bouncing around names, and it was right in front of a surf spot that we used to surf all the time. And somebody had said something like, what about a glassy session or morning session or evening session? And I just said red session just because it had a ring to it. And everybody kind of shrugged and went, all right. And that was that. So there's no real meaning behind it at all, other than it had a ring to it.
Yeah, it's
Cool.
not a great story. Sorry.
No,
It's cool. It's cool.
but
We had
Red
to get something
does
out.
it does mean something. Because when I joined the band, I was told it meant either to surf at sunset or, like a smoke session. So I was down with
Okay.
that. Yeah. So I mean, it,
Nice.
it does mean something in Hawaii, whether Jamie knows it or not. But anyway.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
wide open to interpretation.
I was always under the impression it was a smoking session, of course.
It's certainly a double entendre for a
Yeah.
lot of reasons.
Yeah.
But it was never intended that way. It just had a ring to it, and we needed something to put on the flyer.
Yeah. That's awesome. So what are you all up to these days? You guys got normal jobs? What are you guys up to?
I definitely don't have a normal job. I'm a freelance writer and journalist, so that's perilous at this time. But Salika and Chris and everybody else have regular straight jobs that they do and that they're taking time off of this week to get this show next week together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do graphic design for Capcom games.
Nice.
Just
Awesome.
packaging and banners and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and
Okay.
I'm an elementary school teacher because we all met in college, so we were all, heading to do other things. So I did have this degree that I fell back on when I got tired of smelling feet.
It was all at U of H, right? That you met?
Yep,
Yeah,
yep. And yeah,
most of us, yeah.
yeah. But everybody has a day job pretty much.
Now, how did everybody start listening to start or liking ska? Where did you get?
I
I think
want to go
we had
first.
been, yeah, I'll just say for me it was first being into reggae, listening to Bob Marley, of course, and a lot of roots reggae stuff. And then when we started playing parties, that's what people were responding to. And so I studied ska more and started writing ska just because it was popular. I liked it. We all liked it. We all took to it immediately. It was just a natural progression coming from Hawaii, really.
Mhm.
Island music. And so,
Mhm.
Yep, I'd actually never heard of ska, living in Hawaii, but I moved to New York City for college and I made friends with a bunch of musicians in a band called Skinnerbox, and they were a ska band. And so through them, I learned what ska was. And I was like, wow, I like ska. It's the grandfather of reggae. Hell yeah, I like it. And then I moved back to Hawaii and I was looking for someone to sing with because I'd been doing little bits with Skinnerbox here and there. And my friend told me, yeah, I went to this party and I saw this really funny little ska band. It was Kristen Shipley. She told me about you guys. And so I actually knew Jamie from teaching summer fun, like so random. We know each other from such random things.
yeah.
Anyway,
Well, we grew up, in the same neighborhood.
yeah. And they gave me an audition. I remember my audition. Yeah. Anyway, so
Chris and Salika both came into the band in kind of the same way. Because Sean and I had been playing together with some other guys, and in both cases, for Salika and for Chris, they each approached Sean and I while, between sets or after we played or something. Chris came up and goes, "Hey, do you guys need a bass player?" And I go, "Well, obviously, can you play?" And he goes, "Yeah." I said, "All right, we'll come to practice." And he turned up, and that was a done deal. He was in immediately. And same thing with Salika. We were playing at Kristen's party up on the hill. And I remember it was raining, and Salika came up and said, do you guys wanna can I sing with you guys or something to that effect?" And we said the same thing. Can you sing? Come to practice. And Salika came to practice, and it was a done deal. She nailed it, and that was the core group right there.
Yeah, come to
Nice.
practice. We practice at a beach park.
yeah, exactly. Come to the beach park. They had congas, an acoustic guitar, bunch of beers, and yeah,
Oh,
it was
we used to bring amps. It was like we would steal electricity. There was a pavilion at this beach park called Koi Kui. We wrote a song about it. And someone told us one day, like, "Oh, hey, they have power there. You should just practice there," because we couldn't practice at our drummer's house anymore. And it was like just down the street from there. So we're like, all right. We practiced there for good, like what, 6 months? It was like
At least
it was way too long for a full band with amps and everything to practice in an open space like that. I don't know how cops didn't show up earlier.
Wow,
what
that's
they,
awesome.
what they did when Peter showed up with his new Marshall rig and plugged that in, and that was the end of that. Because the cops were there in about 20 minutes, pulled the plug on the whole operation. Now they've got metal grates over. This was years ago they did that because of us. They put metal grates over all of the outlets in the pavilion so
Oh,
people couldn't feel electricity and all of that. We were gadflies to the authorities, sort of.
That what Salika, what you mentioned, brings me back to my time when I lived in near Kahanapali in Maui, and my introduction to the Hawaiian language.
what?
Yeah.
It's into the max.
I love this, but we had them separately. Now they come together.
Mm.
Cool. Yeah.
So this was my introduction, and you said summer fun, and it just took me back there.
Yep.
Like 9 or 10 when I lived there.
Those books were very popular, you know. We all had them.
Oh,
Yeah.
my favorites were learning Akoli and Ala Alas. Oh, was it my question next? I think it was. All right, so um, you had your original album, which I don't know how many years it took me to figure out that this actually, oops, sorry, this actually meant Our Own Sweet Time.
Oh my gosh. That's all Jamie. That was
And
Yeah,
then,
that's on me. That's on me. It's also on everybody else. We're a democracy, so everybody agreed, and
I
it was
know.
a huge mistake.
Nobody got it. Nobody got it. Anyway, we
so I know
tried.
that you guys, Rich Ray from the Mud Sharks, released that for you guys, right? Or he just distributed it?
He distributed it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he distributed, I think, on Caroline.
Because on the back of it, it says distributed by One
One
White.
wipe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which was Rich. Yeah, because I booked those guys once here. They're pretty great guys.
Yeah. We ended up we did the first pressing ourselves and didn't have any distribution. We would like took it to stores around Hawaii, like around the Oahu, and they all carried it. And then did one. It was like I think it was one of maybe our second tour. We played in Reno. That fateful night with Rich in the van driving back to San Francisco. But that's where we played with the Mud Sharks and we met them, and we've been messaging back and forth, and that's where the distribution deal came from.
And do you remember what year that was?
That it was maybe 96.
97?
I think it was maybe 96. Maybe wait. Yeah, yeah, that was 96. That's when our album came out.
Yeah, because I think I had purchased a bunch from you guys, and I was distributing them along with Meal Ticket and some other ones through Caroline and Sound of California and Cargo and some of those places as well. I don't know. I think Rich may have had the same distribution as well. I don't remember, but yeah, I remember that. That was good times back then.
Yeah.
That was good stuff. That was I mean, hugely helpful to us. People knew our songs, they knew our material, they knew kind of our brand, I guess, when back before you called it brand. But they knew us. People, kids would turn up in Aloha shirts to our, places we'd never been before. So folks like you, Daryl, helping get our music out there was pivotal in our success on the mainland for sure.
Yeah, with Generic Skaka, and well, we weren't on that one because it had just come out when we had met you. And
Yeah,
then
you guys.
Punko Ska we were on.
Yeah, you guys are on this one, of course, Punko
Yeah,
Ska.
that's the one.
Yeah.
But then I think I don't know who I was talking to you, Chris, or whatever, but back then I was very interested on working with you guys. And then we also had this one that John
Yeah.
Humphrey from Vegas put out
That's the one.
which was Tale of the Toothless One, which you guys didn't release yet.
Yeah, that's
I
right.
think it was only on this one.
It's only on that one. That's the only place to find it.
Only on that one, and then the re-release now.
There is one other place. Is This Ain't No Fucking Luau. It was a comp that we put out in Hawaii that is probably super hard to
that's right.
find.
Yeah, that's right.
I should
remember
look to
that.
see if I have any copies of those. I think I do.
Yeah, that's a whole true story about our first tour.
Yeah.
Wow. Now, the first time I heard you guys
Wow.
was on the Hey Brother, Can You Spare Some Ska compilation.
Mhm.
You guys were like the third song on that, the song Jungle, which was a great song for the beginning of the CD, for its fast tempo, great horn parts with the rapid eighth notes and long chords. Now, how did the band decide to put that song on the compilation, and how did you get the opportunity to be on the compilation?
That's a good question. What's the answer?
Yeah, I have to claim the credit for that one.
I was wondering that.
Yeah.
The,
Do you remember
the
who-
answer is John Halperin. I'll help you guys.
Yeah. That's I was trying to remember. It's like who put that out?
Yeah, John did. John
did.
from
Okay.
Vegas Records. He does Stay Fresh now. So he works with Bite Me Bambi and lots of other bands. He does a lot of Long Beach festivals and stuff down here.
Ah, cool. Yeah, it was I forgot about that comp.
Why'd you
Um
pick Jungle? I always wondered why you picked the songs you guys did.
I think we were trying to not double up songs basically that have already been out on other comps.
Mm.
Um and I don't know. I guess we just liked the song. We're like, hey, take this one.
Pardon
I
me for
really
one
like the
minute.
song.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah.
So you guys are just one of many Hawaiian bands. One of the great bands. We have the bands that I know of, and let me know if there's other ones you don't, but I know a lot of Go Jimmy Go, of course,
Hmm.
and Tantra Monsters, but I don't, and you guys, of course, but I don't really know what other local bands that you guys have played with over the years, which ones you guys really like from the either the mainland or from the islands.
Well, back in the day when we were gigging, BYK, which was stands for Beat Your Kids, was one of my favorites. They were good. They like started off as this weird like kind of thrashy reggae crossover band, which kind of didn't work, but then there was more punk, and then they kind of made like they had a kind of like a mod sound for a while, and they were really really good. Um, we played this with this band a lot called Dread Ashanti. They were just a straight roots band. Um, it's kind of this kind of funky band. I don't really know.
A lot of punk bands too. Tweaked and who else was there?
It's
Misdemeanor.
like Roots
Generic.
Matter, Roots NABB. There used to be a lot of bands in Hawaii. Like we still
Yeah,
do
Yeah, there was
Battle of
a
the
DT.
Bands, and there'd be all these bands. It was wild.
there
Yeah,
was a
Ukla
big
Kamahawk,
yeah.
another roots band.
Like when we first started. I remember Ukla when they were a hardcore band.
Yeah, Ookla.
I was in a hardcore
That's
band
when
and
Scott was
we
singing.
yeah we played a show with them and I was like, oh, these guys are like Bad Brains. This is awesome. And then they just went straight roots after that. But yeah, I mean, as far as like there weren't really a lot of ska bands happening. There were basically two when we were playing. It was Tantra and us, and then a few years went by and then some more bands started popping up, but it was still um pretty much just the two of us.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
'cause
before us, it was I think Mr. Simon was the closest thing that we had to a ska band.
Yeah, and like half of those guys went on to form Tantra.
Yeah, they went to make Contra.
Yeah, actually they just switched singers. It was all the same guys. They brought Lauren in and Russell was out.
Well, yeah, Russell started up Ira Hayes.
Mhm.
Yeah, I only got to see Tantra play once. I think they opened for Pickle down in Hollywood or something.
Yeah,
Um,
they did that big national tour with them.
mhm, that's
They
what
were
it was.
great. They were a
Oh
great
yeah,
band.
yeah, yeah. Too bad they had to
Absolutely.
open. That's the only thing that sucked.
So Red
But yeah,
Sessions
that was
first
the
started
song.
in Hawaii. I'm
There was,
sorry.
there was just a go ahead, go ahead.
I was going to say, you guys first started in Hawaii, but what year did you guys decide to go to California and why?
Okay,
We relocated in '97.
yeah.
So we got Strange Manor in '97, thanks to Salika.
thank you.
Oh yeah, mad props, mom. Come on now. But yeah, we relocated in 1997 after having done 2 tours, and the reason was so we could just tour more and go out for shorter runs instead of having to go out for 6 weeks just to cover costs flying out of Hawaii. We could go on 12-day runs or 7-day runs, and we had a variety of routes out of the Bay Area. Um, that just made it easier for us to tour and sell records because we weren't making any money at shows.
Yeah, we wanted to be full-time musicians. And it's unless you are like playing covers in a hotel, can't really do that in Hawaii.
Yeah. We felt like we had gotten as big as we could, like the whole big fish, small pond. So
Mhm.
then we moved to the big pond and we tried to.
Well, we were keenly aware because we had for quite a while our shows were packing the house. There's lines down the street at what was then Anna Bananas, and we were packing it regularly, and then we noticed that it was getting a little bit less crowded. We'd already done or we had done a couple of tours. We noticed the crowd was not like falling off, but we could notice a little bit, and we knew that it was time if we were gonna pursue it and really try to find what was then label success and get on MTV or whatever. The only way to do it was to be on the road. So we had to get out of Hawaii to do it.
Because what young people don't know is there was no internet. Like we had to actually drive around in our van from town to town for people to know who we were. Yeah.
Well, and
Yeah,
thanks to
that's-
guys like you, Daryl, people did know who we were. People were expecting us. They liked our music before we got there. And so every time we would go back, we'd have a bigger following. We had a huge following in Pocatello, Idaho, which was, for us unthinkable at the time. But we'd turn up and the whole town would turn up at the First National Bank, which was a bar that we would pack every time. It was insane. And we would never have had that if we didn't go out and, service those.
Oh, you definitely got to support the album every time you go out and just grin and bear it. I know there's shows that maybe some people don't even show up to, and there's some shows people, thousands of people show up. I've done my Italian tours, and it's so unpredictable, unfortunately.
Hmm.
So, Our Own Sweet Time, your first album, you guys re-released it very recently with 8 new tracks. And then you also guys released the live one that just came out.
Yeah,
So
that's
why-
from KTUH.
So why did it take so long to go ahead and release all these other songs that were basically just on either Spotify or other comps? Was it due to the reunion show, or was it just time to get the word out there again?
Yes, and also I had no idea a lot of these things even existed.
Yep. We did
Like-
not know that was there.
Yeah, like
Right.
what I remember
Go ahead,
recording
go
is Our Own Sweet Time, and we did a demo that we recorded in San Luis Obispo, and that's it. I remember we played on KTUH a couple of times, but I never had any of the songs. Like I never had the recordings. And then our buddy Jason from 808 Shows is like, "Hey, look what I found."
Yeah, and actually, mad props to Jason Miller from Hawaiian Express
It's all Jason.
because he is pivotal in all of this. And actually, it was a couple of years ago. I remember Kika, it was after he got back from the Big Island, and Jason had just called me and said, "I got a bunch of this old Red Session stuff," and we went out to his place over there in Aiea Heights or whatever, and went and listened to what he had. And that was, a couple 3 years ago. But so he had expressed an interest in releasing that stuff back then. And then once the show was announced, once we all decided to do the show, or once Chris came to us with the pitch, Jason just kicked it into high gear, and we brought him in to help us put together and promote the show. And he's been huge. So the release, all those newly released songs and tracks, those are released because of Jason. Those wouldn't be out there if Jason hadn't done it himself.
And we're
That's
so
good.
stoked. Sorry, go on.
No, I'm sorry. You go ahead.
Well, they're so special because I thought those songs were dead and gone forever. Because that was a time that was like the streamlined version of Red Session. We had a new drummer and people had left. So I think it was only 5 of us. But we were playing like mad. Like that was the most I think we ever played, just everyday gigs, 3 45-minute sets. We're almost like robots. Like we just played so much all the time. So when I listened to that, I was like, wow, we could really, I could really hear, I don't know, just not that was our best, but we were just so streamlined by that point. So it was really
Right.
cool to hear that, I was like, wow, I couldn't believe it.
Well, and the new releases that Jason put out on the Our Own Sweet Time CD. So the new tracks on that release, those are most of them are from that San Luis Obispo demo session that we did. So it's all live. There might be a couple of overdubs, but I doubt it. But that was all from just one 3-hour session, and we were playing, I think the Slow Brew Company later that night or something. It was just a marathon day of playing. So we were in the zone. You know, we were absolutely in the zone.
He released that because I thought we're talking about the K2H one. Is that the one that we're talking about?
Oh, that's the live one.
Yeah,
Thanks. That's the
Okay.
one with the red stripe cover.
yeah. Is that not what we're talking about?
No, so Jason re-released Our Own Sweet Time with the slow recordings.
Wow, I didn't
Also.
hear. Where's that at?
He will probably give you a copy if you just tell him, hey, give me a copy.
It's like a CD, or can I go
Yeah,
online and
it's a CD. It's also it's streaming too.
Yeah, it's on
streaming, it's
Spotify.
on Spotify.
see? This is how it is. I'm like, wait, what? Wait, where can I hear that? This is how it's been the last few months. It's wild.
Yeah, it kind of snuck up on us, really, this whole thing, because Chris, I don't know, sometime in, I want to say mid-September, Chris sent out what is it, a WhatsApp group text to everyone in the band, and he said, I think it's time we have this conversation. What do you guys think about a Red Session reunion in early 2025? And sort of collectively and separately, everybody went, sounds good, let's do it. You know, and here we are. And I still don't know Chris's motivations for doing it either, but here we are.
Well, I mean, it's pretty simple. Like, I had talked to Sean a few months, 6 months ago or before that, and he said he ran into some people, and they're like, "Hey, if you guys ever do a reunion, let me know. I want to go." And I was like, maybe." And then one of the bands I'm in now played a gig with Chad, our trombone player. He plays drums for other bands. We had a gig and we were just shooting the shit, and then he's like, yeah, you know, it'd be fun to play those songs again. And I was like, yeah, I just talked to Sean not that long ago. And then from there it just started. And then I kind of sat and marinated on it for a while. It's like, is this something that I want to put a lot of energy and effort into?
It's a lot of time.
It's a lot to do it. And I was like, yeah. And then that's pretty much when I contacted everyone.
I
So
just
that's
like
where-
it. Nobody expressed any reservations. Everybody just kind of,
Yeah.
oh, good, let's do it. Because we're proud of what we done, right? You know, why not?
So it's a perfect title for the reunion, the Hanabata, which
Hanabata
means
days, yeah.
Hanabata
childhood
days.
days. You're going back to when you guys were young.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It means snotty nosed kid days.
Yeah.
For those who don't have Pigeon to the Max, can't look it up.
Yeah, like we could say, because, for instance, Salika and I grew up in the same neighborhood. We know each other from the Hanabata days.
Right.
When you're running around, you know, Gen X style without parental supervision, and always had the one kid that would CC his pants, you know, or the other kid with the snot in his nose, you know, the snot crusted on his face. That's Hanabata days.
Yeah. Our drummer Sean is also from this neighborhood, so I remember him like when he was like 12 years old, learning how to play guitar and drums in his friend's garage. So yeah,
He was the punk scene mascot, man.
but him and Twan, he was Twan's best friend, and my
Uh-huh.
friend Twan. So we used to go check them out, and there's Sean like in the freaking back of the garage.
That's kind of how I remember when we got started, because Sean was using my ID to get into bars because he was underage. And so I gave him, you know, an ID and got a new one. The only time we ever got busted for it was at, I don't know, some quarter per Steinlager night in Waikiki. And I handed the door guy my ID, and then Sean walked in right behind me with my ID, and the guy's like, "Hold on."
Was
So
that Hernando's Hideaway?
It was Hernando's Hideaway, yeah.
But yeah, so
Was it all these fake IDs?
those are all real.
Those are real.
They're all the real ones.
Yes. Yes, and if you look at mine, there's like hair and sand in it.
I'm doing this backwards because I can't see. So,
Yeah.
how are you? Here.
There he is.
Yeah, there's like hair and sand in it because I take it surfing or body surfing or whatever.
Yeah.
But that reminds me, James. I had my fake ID taken away when we had a gig at Moose's
Oh,
in Puck's Alley, and so I think I was 19 at that point.
Right. It was probably Deputy Dan that trick from Radio Free.
No, it was a moke. It was not. It was not Deputy Dan.
Then it wasn't a very good ID, was it?
It was not. No,
At least Sean had like a legit ID, but it was just mine.
just yours. Yeah. And you guys look so much alike.
Well, we had kind of the same. Now, not so much.
Yeah.
Now, is there going to be any reunion tour dates or shows coming up?
Then,
Not likely.
yeah, I think
No.
it's just it's a one and done kind of thing for us.
Oh,
I think I don't know if there is. I mean, other than you two, I don't know if there's a big want for us to get back together. We weren't that popular on the mainland. Like we had fans and people would come and see us, but like it would be tough to say like, okay, where are we going to play?
hmm.
And then to be able to
And,
pay for us to get to all those spots would just be so cost prohibitive.
Right.
Yeah.
And to find the market that we had back then, Gen Xers who have kids and likely grandkids at this point, it would just be hard to find that demographic to turn up.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, Chris can get you guys a show easy here. Chris can get you. Chris still books some the bands to play over at the Knitting Factory here in Hollywood too.
Oh,
Don't send me with a good time.
We did have I remember very vividly a lot of the shows we played in LA, and we got booked with a lot of traditional bands. And we were very obviously not a traditional band, and we got a lot of the
Yes.
I don't think this is cool enough for me to like.
yeah, all the ska snobs.
What do you guys think?
Yeah. It was nonverbal opprobrium. Just
Well,
dirty
well,
look.
back then there was such a crossover of there's so many bands, at that
Mhm.
time, and it was okay to play crossover with different bands. The only thing is, nowadays we don't have that luxury anymore. That's got to
Yeah, you don't have
stay,
the bands.
The ska punk's got to stay with the ska punk. The straight ska's got to stay with that. I'm trying to find the flyer when you guys played with like a bunch of different bands here.
Was that
Yeah,
the alligator one with Meal Ticket and
Yeah,
the hippos?
the one that Chris posted the video from.
It was a turkey mallet.
Oh yeah, Turkey Mallet. That's right. Oh, Congo
Turkey
Shock was
Mallet.
on that one too.
And Congo Shock. That's when we met Congo Shock.
Yeah, that's right.
And then we
Yeah.
played the ska parade the next day with Congo Shock.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we played with them when I toured with Melting Pot over at the Monte Vista Hotel. They had a show up there and
And Flagstaff.
yeah, Flagstaff, exactly. Yeah. There and but this show was also, God, I forgot who the hell else played. I don't know, did Meal Ticket play? I don't remember.
Yeah, Meal Ticket headlined.
Meal Ticket headline. Okay.
It was Meal Ticket, Hippos, Turkey Mallet, us, and Congo Shock.
Oh yeah, that was a good show.
Was that the same week that we did the Whiskey and the Roxy on the Friday and Saturday night?
I
Daryl,
don't know if that was the
was
same tour.
put together.
Oh,
But that
I
was-
think that was for Luis for Steady Beat. That was the
Yeah.
was it the
Steady Beat.
intensified West Coast Ska Fest?
But there was also the Hippos played one of those shows. I think was it the Roxy?
The Hippos played the Roxy for Luis. God, I one time with I think Kamuri from Japan and Mustard Plug. I don't remember. I have to look at flyers. That's the only way I remember shows. Flyers or ticket stubs. But yeah,
Yeah, 'cause I know
Right.
we played a few shows with the Hippos, and I thought one of them was at the Roxy, but it might have
Well,
just been a different time from the
I
one
think
we played them back to back.
I think I booked you guys at the Cobalt Cafe in Sherman Canoga Park, I think, with Meal Ticket once, maybe. I don't. There was a lot of bands that we had play at the Cobalt. Do you guys remember that?
I don't. I
Oh,
do remember.
I know all the gigs we did in LA were all showcase gigs. except
Yeah.
one in San Pedro
Hmm.
at a coffee shop.
Oh,
Yeah, and
that would have been mine at Sacred Grounds.
that was
Sacred
because
ground.
and you're
Sacred
like,
Grounds. Yeah.
and I
Shit.
remember you were saying like, "Hey, we got to get out of here. Some bad shit's about to happen." And
Oh,
there was some like crazy shit that happened outside. Like I think it was a bunch of vatos got in a fight or something, or
oh
we're
God.
starting trouble.
Yeah, Luis
It
has
was
he has a record store there, right around, actually right down the street from where Sacred Grounds used to be. So he has a
yeah,
record store
we
there.
were in a neighborhood bar right there, right around the corner from Sacred Grounds,
Yeah,
and
John
we
C's
were all
Tavern.
yeah, we were sitting there at the bar, sitting there, and the vibes just got heavy, and we all just kind of looked at each other, kind of non-verbally. We're like, "This is going to get gnarly. We need to go."
Yeah.
And we did. And like by the time we got to the van, which was, I don't know, a half a block up the street, there's 8 squad cars pulling up, screaming around the corner. We're like, yeah, and let's get out of LA.
Yeah, exactly.
It was
And you were
airy.
the furthest from LA. You couldn't go any further. You're near the water. Oh, that's crazy. Craziness. I forgot some of these stories. So, do you guys still listen to ska? Are you guys into that? If so, who are your favorite bands from that are now that you know?
I've since this project came together, this reunion project came together, I've been listening to a lot more ska through various podcasts and whoever. And the names are gonna escape me right now, but it's good to see that there's still a scene that people are committed to, and people from our generation have clearly been, instrumental in bringing it to a new generation. It's not necessarily the bands that were playing, it's the record company guys that were doing it, like it was the radio stations and whatever. So that it's
Mhm.
I'm aware of that culture still being there, and I almost kind of forgotten about it because I got into other things. But coming back to it now, it's amazing to see. Obviously the technology that we have makes it easier, but the fact that it's still there, I'm amazed to see people, young people still doing what we did when we were young people.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
there's a lot of the same players in the game. Chuck Wren's been doing his thing since early 90s. Luis Correa, Steady Beat, he's been doing it since
Mhm.
early 90s. John Panel, who does a lot of Orange County
Oh
bands.
yeah,
He's on the international stage now. He books I think he manages Tokyo Ska and a few other Pation Rococo or some other um, international bands. So there's a lot of that, like Mida. You guys know Mida, of course, from
yeah.
This Is Ska and Be Happy. We interviewed him the other day. He did all the bands going through Central California, all up there by Modesto and Hayward and everything in between here and San Francisco. But yeah,
Yeah,
some of the same players are in the games. It's just the game's changed a little. That's the only thing.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
what I did see was that they're out of Santa Barbara, the Upbeat.
Yeah,
They're
they're still
still
around.
they're still doing it.
Yeah, they're still around. They'll still play a lot. They just don't play out of town anymore. That's the thing. They just stay in Carpinteria. Um, but they've been around hell of a long time too.
Yeah, I think we played with
yeah,
them every time we played in whatever Goleta, Carpinteria, and Santa Barbara. We always shared a bill with the Upbeat.
That's the biggest band to come out of that area.
Yeah, but Daryl, to answer your question, yes, I still listen to ska, but I like old school ska, like Toots and the Maytals, but like Warsaw, like my friends, I still listen to that. You listen to ska,
There's
Chris?
I honestly after we broke up,
You're like,
um,
da, 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 da. That's what Chris is like, da. Sorry.
I yeah, I mean I've always been like a metalhead and into punk, and then I got into ska, and then I really overdosed on it when I was in Red Session, and then so when the band broke up, like I was still listening to everything else. but I was like, I'm just gonna, put the brakes on it. I'm not, and I didn't really seek out any new stuff. Um, but then I started touring with the Phenomenauts, and a lot of our connections crossed over. So like we toured with the Toasters a lot. We toured with the Slackers. Like we toured with all these ska bands, and so it was like I was like not reinvigorated, but I'm like, okay, it's still happening.
It's
But
still relevant.
I wasn't really like, oh, this new band is awesome. This new ska band's awesome. I was like, I'm really more into like heavier stuff at this point. And but I've always listened to like reggae and like specials, like old, like and Desmond Decker and old stuff, like all that stuff. I never stopped really listening to. It just kind of dropped further down on the playlist a little.
Yeah, same with me. My taste is, widened over the years. I like all kinds of different things. But my main collection is like ska type of things, both on vinyl and CD. But yeah, it definitely, everything matures after time, and we start listening to other things. Because believe me, if you listen to one style of music all the time, it kind of gets, tiring. So it's good to kind of mix
Mm.
that up. So one thing I've never asked you guys, and I've always been curious, is who the heck are those two old people on the CD cover?
Those are Sean's grandparents.
Small
R.I.P.
grandparents.
Yeah.
They go to all your shows?
I don't think
No.
they came to a single show.
Maybe the grandma did. The grandma was hilarious. She was very, very funny lady. Sean and I still have like inside jokes about things his grandma would say. But it was just a great picture, and we decided to use it for the album title. But yeah, that's Sean's grandparents. His grandpa, the Italian guy, his grandma, the Hawaiian lady.
Yeah, I love covers like that. The Adjustment. I don't know if you guys remember. There's a band called The Adjustments.
Mhm.
From back then, they had a release, and they had this guy that worked at the restaurant with them.
Oh yeah, I remember that. I had
Remember
that.
that? And they took a picture of him. So it's, to me, the Our Own Sweet Time reminds me of, the same type of thing. It's just a funny ass picture. And you never know the meaning behind it. It could mean something or nothing.
It means something. It's entirely authentic, and it's if I can, I don't know, be sentimental about it. In retrospect, it's kind of representative of how we've always been a family. We always looked after each other. None of us OD'd out there. We were all respectful of each other and kept each other in line and had respect for one another. For the most part, it's not like we didn't have any scrapes or anything. I think Chris almost kicked my ass in a van one night. Coming back from Reno.
I did. I picked him up by the neck and choked him, and then got out of the van because I was so upset.
Yes. Well, I was a dick because I had to go to work at the school the next morning. And
Well,
you're
that's
like,
not
I want pancakes. I want pancakes. I said something horrible like, shut your fucking mouth and do what you're fucking told. And you lost it.
I will also
Rightfully.
say that I was not the only one who has choked Jamie in the band. I think there were 3 or 4 of us. So I think
I
the
gotta
problem
stop
lies
talking
with Jamie.
I got a sharp tongue. I'm a writer, man. I think quick.
No comment.
Asshole.
Yeah, call him what you want, man. That looks like a duck. But I was worth something. I mean, I'll be at the show.
Hopefully, no choking.
No choking. No.
No choking.
No kind of choking of any sort. I think you just reminded me that I choked on my Bad Chicken guitar solo at the Fillmore when we opened for Real Big Fish. I think I remember that. Not like
Where was-
egregiously.
Where
But
was
I-
that where you guys opened? Was that in Northern California somewhere?
Yeah, in
It
San
was at the
Francisco at the Fillmore.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I remember when the Hippos played with them after they got signed to Mojo. It was with them and Undercover Ska.
Mm.
That was
Big
Undercover
Heart
Ska gave us
City
our
or
first
something?
break.
What was that?
Undercover Ska in San Francisco gave us our first gig on the mainland at Slim's in San Francisco. It was Undercover Ska that offered us an opening slot for them at Slim's. So
Yeah,
thanks, guys.
Yeah.
that was a great band. Did they? I don't know what happened. Just like some of them, all the great bands kind of fall off.
Yeah.
Um,
It was
Funny
interesting
story.
because- yeah, go ahead, Chris.
Funny story about that first show. They got us a gig opening for them at Slim's with the Brownies and them. And literally fresh off the plane, we're there, we're all like starry-eyed. We're like, wow, we're doing it. We're touring. This is awesome. Folsom Street Fair. Do you guys know what Folsom Street Fair is? It is a street fair, and it is basically a bunch of leather daddies having sex with each other in front, just in wide open in the street. And so we were just like, what's happening?
mhm.
We had no idea what the hell was going on. We're like, went from like supreme like awe, shock and awe, like, oh, this is amazing, to shock and awe of like, oh, this is not Hawaii. We're not
We're in the big city now.
we're not on Oahu anymore.
Yeah, you start touring the nation, and you start saying some strange shit.
And meeting good people, you know.
And that's a good segue into the next question, which is, we always like to ask if there's any touring stories that you guys have, either great stories of bands or some crazy horror stories, as most bands have. Anything like that for y'all?
Who wants to tell the
Yeah.
Rich story?
There's so many. That's the fun part about getting back together, is all the stories. Definitely.
Oh yeah,
What,
we
you
had
mean
Neil
when-
Ticket on here, our first interview, and that was more of a reunion because they hadn't seen each other for decades, and so they
Oh,
they
wow.
just would talk and talk. We couldn't even get a word in. It was great.
I love it. We have many stories. Which one do you want to tell them?
I think the one
I
coming
think-
back from
Go ahead,
after the
Ted.
show in Reno.
Yep. Is
That's
it
the one.
was it raining in the van? You better tell that
Yeah,
story.
yeah. That's the one.
It's one of my favorites.
All right, so we played. It was the last day of our tour. We were playing in Reno. We were flying out of San Francisco at like 8 in the morning. So we played the show. It was with C Spot and Mud Sharks. It was a great show. It was so much fun.
Oh, it was a great
And
show.
we had gotten to Reno kind of early, so we booked a hotel room. Like Rich, our manager at this point, he booked a hotel room, and it was like the grossest, dirtiest Reno hotel you could think of. But for some, we're like, whatever. We showered and hung out and whatnot. Played the show. Rich got so drunk, which was kind of standard, but a little bit more because we knew we had to be on the road to get to the airport by like 6:30, basically, to drop off the van and get on the plane. Rich gets wasted. We get back to the motel to like gather all our bags and stuff, and he's like, it's the grossest, dirtiest, greasiest parking lot I've ever seen, and he's just like rolling around and it's hammered, not making any sense. We just pack up around him and then throw him in the van. It's standard 15 passenger van, right? I'm in the passenger seat. Chad's driving. Rich, and we had a cooler in between, and Rich was in the middle seat, laying across, so his feet were up in the cabin, and he kept like thrashing and like trying to sleep, but he was like kicking, and he's like kicking Chad while he's driving, and we're like trying to wake him up, and nothing's working. So I grabbed a water bottle. It had like a squeezy like top, and I start squirting him with him, and he's not moving. And so I'm like squirting him more and more, and then finally, like, I just squirted all in his crotch, all like right in his crack, and he's still not moving. And then he kind of rolled over, and his belly's hanging out, and filled it up with water, and we put a bunch of paper towels in there. And at one point, Angel, he's like, and he snores so loud. Angel put a little piece of paper on his chin, and he's like, oh, sucked it in. And he stopped snoring, and everyone was like dead silent in the car, like just watching him, like, oh, what? And then he's like, And he started snoring again. So he went back, and then he started kicking more, and everyone just started getting pissed. We're like, all right, that's enough. He's not waking up. So I pointed all the AC straight at his crotch, basically, and turned it on full. And he just wakes up in a panic, and he starts yelling like, "Why are my balls wet? Why are my balls? Is it raining in the van? I don't think so." And he's like freaking out, and then he goes after Angel, and Angel like popsicle sticks his arm up into the van, up into the corner of the van, and he finally like settles down. He's like, "Okay, he's okay, okay." And the paper came out, the one that like he sucked in, like came out, and he explodes again, and he's just like, it was. I mean, it
You're
doesn't
trying
sound
to
like,
kill me.
yeah, he's like, "You guys are trying to kill me." It doesn't sound like that great of a story, but in the moment,
It was great.
like if there was like, if it was nowadays, we'd be live streaming it, and a million people it would have gone viral, and it was just ridiculous,
And our
Well,
other
but it was
favorite
funny.
is Chris shooting raccoons because we had a raccoon problem in our house. He would put
That's
like, what was that,
crazy.
Clorox water in a super soaker? Just
Or vinegar.
yeah,
Yes,
vinegar.
vinegar.
Oh my gosh.
Ammonia makes a better story, man. I
Well,
say ammonia.
when we were not on the road was like when mayhem would ensue at our house sometimes because they'd just be
Because
sitting around.
because early on, like we weren't working, we were actually making enough money to pay the rent, which was kind of great, but we didn't do a lot. We were like sitting around and trying not to be bored, shooting raccoons with a super soaker.
Queuing chicken.
Yeah, I think that the not gigging story. My favorite one is when we had a night off in Phoenix. We were playing with Warsaw Poland Brothers somewhere, Boston's or I don't know, Bandersnatch, whatever. It could have been something, but we had a whole day off, a whole night off, and we went tubing down the Salt River. And it was the best day we had. Like, it was so good for morale. It was just like the most unreal day. And Sean, we were drinking, he floated a cooler down. We've got cases and cases of beer, a bottle of whiskey, whatever. We're just having the best time. And so we're in our tubes, and Sean floats off. And Sean's a fairly subdued guy, but with some amazing powers of subtle comedy. And so I see him, and he kind of floats over to this flotilla of like pink plump sorority girls out for a pledge something or however that works. And Sean's a handsome guy, and he kind of floats over and he latches his feet onto their thing, and they're like, "Oh my God, this guy's so cute!" And they're talking to him and everything, and I'm sitting there, I kind of got my eye over him, over my shoulder, and I hear all these shrieks all of a sudden. Ah! All these girls are just screaming. I'm like, "What's he done?" I look over, and Sean's just pissing straight up into the air onto himself. And he's looking directly at me with just the best grin on his face, like
Fun fact: he saved a middle-aged woman's life. That very like not even an hour later.
not even an hour later.
When you would get out, where the buses would pick you up, was kind of like
It was
a little bit
dangerous.
treacherous. And this woman like flipped over and was like screaming and like drowning, and Sean's like, "Ah, shit!" Jumped out of his tube, swam over, and like pulled her in.
We're all good in the water. We grew up
Yeah.
here surfing, so
Yeah.
I've got I'm holding the cooler against the flow of the river, and I'm looking at Sean like, do something. So he goes in and jumps out and saves this woman's life. She was going down the river, man. She was going to die. She was not going to survive. And Sean went and saved her. And she comes to the beach, and the idiot lifeguard they had there just watched all this happen, and then greets her as Sean drags her to the beach, to the lifeguard, and says, "Oh, thank you so much, thank you so much," to this idiot 20-year-old lifeguard. And Sean's like, "Your life." She goes, "Oh, thanks, yeah, okay," and just keeps fawning on the kid. Just ungrateful.
Wow.
Ungrateful. He saved her life, without question. And also, we jumped off a cliff that was terribly ill-advised, but we survived.
Can you guys tell me about this story? dragging all your barbecue equipment out into the ocean?
No, that's
Yeah.
right in front of Sean's house. So the ocean, the horizon behind that is the surf spot that was in front of Sean's house. So we surf there all the time, and we just picked the time when the tide would be, kind of halfway up, and decided that would be a good shot for the back of the record.
Hmm.
And we did actually have a barbecue. That was a genuine barbecue. So it was staged, but we did eat out there.
That is awesome. So, what does the future hold for Red Session? Is this just a one-off? You guys are going to just have a reunion, and then another 10 years or whatever, another reunion? Or are you guys writing some songs while you're together? What's happening?
I think for right now, it's just the one off, and let's get through this and do what we're capable of, and let's be us again.
Hmm.
And then if something comes from it, that for probably for most of us it would be you know sales revenue or something, but otherwise it's really just a reason for us to get back together, stay connected, and see what the future might hold. But I think Salika and Chris would agree with me that we don't have any plans beyond Saturday,
Yeah,
other
there's
than other than to stay in touch.
yeah.
Yeah, if you guys ever do want to, I know Jose's been itching to throw a show. So yeah, I'm sure we'd
Yes.
love to have you guys. If you guys are ever interested in coming down here, we could put something together.
Nice. Well,
Yeah,
never
we can.
because
We
I
can take
always
a
want to play. I'm always looking for people to play with, but it's hard because everyone's so busy adulting, like just trying to get a practice together is difficult. So it's pretty cool that this all worked out.
Well, it's taken a lot of work for sure to do it. But maybe we can create a new niche thing where it's the one-off tour, where every show's our last show. See if we make it to the next one. I don't know, but it would be, I wouldn't be opposed to doing another show somewhere else for a good cause or whatever. But I think it's kind of almost selfish of us to do this just because, it's in our song, just because we want to.
Yeah, living it up because you want to. Yeah, that would be great. We'd love to have you guys down here. Unfortunately, we can't make it out there. We'd love to, but now we're adulting, like Salika said. Um, you know. Well, what about you guys? You guys have families? Anything else? Loved ones?
I've been married for 15 years.
Oh,
No kids.
no kids?
No kids.
So you're one of those dinks, the dual income, no kids.
Yeah, I was a dink until AI put me out of a job again.
Oh God, yeah,
Yeah, freelance writer, man. So they've taken away a lot of my business.
it's unfortunate.
It's just a sink now, James.
Yeah, it's just sinkhole.
So, Chris, you said you're into video games and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. What do you think about the new Marvel Rivals?
I actually haven't played it.
Oh,
So
okay.
like what's I'm a little bit like particular about what games I play. Like I like a lot of I like a good story, I even like first person shooters, but like I want a good story that's going to take me away like through it. I'm not a
Mhm.
big multiplayer guy.
Okay.
But I've been hearing like that Marvel Rivals is really good. I just
Mhm.
I just haven't played it yet.
Okay.
I did recently just finish Star Wars Outlaws, which was panned when it first came out, but it's a really really good game.
Is it? I have not tried
Especially if
that
you're
one yet.
especially if you're a Star Wars fan. It's super immersive. Like you could just ride your speeder bike around and be like, oh yeah, this is awesome. And there's so many like Easter
Cool.
eggs everywhere that like allude back to the whole Star Wars galaxy. It's really really well done. I hope they end up making a sequel, but
Okay.
don't know. Yeah, a lot of people were worried because it's Ubisoft and they don't have the best track record, like as
Hmm.
far as like microtransactions and just putting out subpar games. But they did a really really good job with it.
Cool,
Chris, are
cool.
you inviting a flame war in the comments section with your commentary on video games? I understand it's a very contentious milieu.
There's no, everything I said is not contentious at all. They're like, some people will probably say like, oh, Outlaws is not great, and it's a lot of because they're not. A lot of people haven't played it. They're just going off of what like the first reviews were, and it was like a bunch of fanboys not wanting to play a female character. That might be contentious. So, but I stand by it.
Well, you are a man of integrity. I I'm not surprised that you ended up in graphic design for, the most successful video game company in the world, because you're good at that too, it turns out. I've never been a video game guy because I could never afford the games at Fun Factory. I had to watch my friends play, and it was pretty lame. So I just went surfing.
Fun Factory was the local Hawaii children's casino, in case you didn't know.
Casino?
Yeah, it's what it like, get tickets, get prizes kind of deal.
Oh,
Children's
okay.
casino.
T-ball, Dragon's Lair. Remember Dragon's Lair? Dragon's
I
Lair
do.
2.
It was so hard. Oh my
It's
gosh.
super hard.
I never finished it ever. Once.
Never.
It was $1 every play, and you're like 4 turns in, you're like, well, wrong, wrong, wrong. I'm done.
And
Yeah.
it's the same with music, right? Well, that didn't work, like that didn't work, and it's a contentious community if it's ska or metal or R&B or rap or whatever. People. There's always going to be people with bones to pick about something. But that's what I like about Hanabata Days is there's no bones to pick, man. We're just here to have a good time. We just want to have some fun.
Yeah, everyone knows what they're getting. It's good. Hopefully our chops are up to speed. But yeah, everyone, there's no surprises. People are gonna have a good time.
So I've got a last question before we depart. I know you guys are featured on numerous different compilations in the 90s, such as Punko Ska, Hey Brother, On Your Mark, Hawaiian Style, etc. There's a lot of other comps. Now, do you feel that these comps helped get your sound out? And did you feel any positive residual effects from these songs on comps? I know we spoke about this before we recorded, but I just wanted you guys to let us know about that. Like people walk up and say, "I heard your song here. Are you gonna play it?" This and that.
Yeah,
Without
yeah.
question.
Yes.
Yeah, like all the time, like again with like the Hey Brother, like because that one was like really, really cheap. Like you guys, I mean that was not you, Daryl, putting that album, but
Well, it was the
generic-
On Your Mark that was the $1.99.
yeah, but like you guys started doing like cheaper because a lot of comps at that time were still
Yeah,
being priced as like full CDs, full
yeah.
album.
John was putting that out. I think it was $3.99 or something.
Yeah. And I remember like even years like Punko Ska or like generic Skaka, they were like a little bit less, maybe $5.99 if I remember correctly.
Well, that I wanted to keep it cheap because the whole
Yeah.
reason for starting the labels to get the music out there. So I always wanted to make sure that it never when it got to a distributor, it was cheap enough that when it actually got to the store, the markup was no more than $10.
Yeah. But so that definitely like a lot of that lower price point really helped a lot of kids. They were just like, and at that point, again, it's like the very like internet was just starting. It was not like crazy popular. There was message boards, but people really were like buying comps. That's how you found out about new music.
Mhm.
I mean, Punkorama was coming around then, and they sold millions of those. And I think a lot of record labels were like, "Oh, let's do this. Let's gather up everyone on our roster and then send them out." And then guys like you just started up and like, "Hey, I know bands just from putting on shows. Let's
Mhm.
put out comps and just get them out there."
I
I
would,
think-
we're not the only band that would tell you that either, that those compilation albums were, a major part of the reason that we were able to be successful for as long as we were, which in the long term isn't really that long at all, but at the time it was forever. And it was because of those compilations. There were so many more kids, I would call them now, like us, that were exposed to our music because of those compilations than we would have ever reached.
Mhm.
I mean, by any stretch of the imagination. And just being on that sheer number of comps with that reach, that gave us our foot in the door
Right.
to move to the man. And it was so we can take pride in the work that we put in, the songs that we wrote, but nobody would know about our music if it wasn't for those comps to begin with.
Well, I was inspired to do that because of Mike Park when he put out the Misfits of Ska. That was just an amazing album, and I just said I got to do something like this. This is just amazing. But yeah, comps back then, everything's changed now. Everything's streaming. People really don't release things now unless they want it on vinyl. Everything's just changed with media. But the handheld thing is, I think, will always be there just to have it and look at it and just have the presence in your hands of that music. And that's why I'm glad that your friend from Hawaiian Express was able to work with you guys and release some of these songs that had almost been lost, forgotten, like Salika was saying. You guys weren't sure that they were even around. And I got to look. I left here and I went to see because I have a lot of bands that I recorded from the soundboard at the Alligator Lounge, and I just have to look to see if there's anything from you guys from that day. So I'll check.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Well, you know exactly which show to look for.
Well, exactly. And but actually, you guys have the audio of it. You do, Chris.
Well, it's
The video.
it's just a handheld camcorder, so the audio is not great.
Right. You could take the audio is probably not that great. Yeah, like you said.
Yeah, it's not that great.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
We took the video. We know if it was rehots based on what we'd see in the video.
Yeah.
Usually,
Did-
it's usually either standing on a tripod, not moving, or
Yeah.
he's filming girls' boobs.
Are you guys planning to bring out all the luau attire for this coming Saturday's Hanabata reunion show?
We haven't really talked that much about it. We talked a little bit about it. Like I still have my
Chris-
original purple one.
Chris has his OG. Oh, here it comes.
I'll never wear that damn muumuu. Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I have the original one.
You
What?
have it on here. I took a picture of you guys here.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yep.
Same shirt, right?
Yep.
Yep. Same shirt.
Yep.
And
That's-
then yeah,
I
it's
think
Salika's
I think
got-
that's
right?
that.
Yeah.
I think
What's
that's
that?
that show. I think that's that show from the
Yeah, it's that
Alligator.
show. So when
It is.
I put out this comp, I took a picture of everybody that I booked and put them in. There's only like 2 bands that I didn't take the picture of that I booked. It was crazy. It was a crazy time back then. But loving every second of it.
Yeah.
Good times.
Good
I
times.
regret nothing.
What do you regret?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Nothing at all.
So we wish you all the best of luck in this reunion tour, or I'm sorry, not tour. I wish it was a tour. A reunion show out in what is it? It's in Honolulu where you guys were having it. Is that right?
Yeah.
It is.
Oh,
Honolulu,
okay.
in Chinatown.
Got it. We wish you the best of luck with that. Have fun with seeing Chris Murray again over there. Wish we could be there. Hopefully, this thing will be filmed and maybe we can get some audio from that or something.
Yeah. We're gonna live
streaming it.
Yeah, we're gonna live stream it,
Yeah.
and
Oh.
I'm gonna take a board mix, and well, that's gonna be sent to the live stream. And if it comes out good, then we'll throw it to Jason and release it
Yeah, perfect.
if
Nice.
everyone is in agreement. But like, I can't see why everyone,
Yeah,
What's
just,
I'm fine with it.
yeah, it's not gonna cost us anything. It'll probably make us, 15 cents over the life of the stream.
Yeah. 15 cents per annum.
and you guys are gonna put that out or put the link to the live stream where on
I think we're just gonna. I think I'm gonna do the Instagram live
Okay.
because if I remember correctly, it allows me to save it, and then I'll once after the show, we'll put it up on YouTube.
Okay. Got it.
Because
Alright.
actually, Chad, the trombone player, handed me a box of tapes. And he's like, "Here's some tapes. I don't know what's on them. I'm sorry. It could be the band. It could be old Dawson's Creeks."
You love the Dawson's Creek
Right, you
and
love-
Yahoo.
Yeah,
Both are
he
good.
was, he was right. But there was one, and one was us at the whiskey. That first time we played the whiskey. Because they said, yeah, we'll tape you for $60 or whatever. We're like, screw it, why not?
Yeah.
So that's I've got that whole video, but I haven't chopped it up.
We played so fast that night. It was like we were all just gacked out on meth, man. We were so amped up. We played so fast. And I think it was, I don't know, just because it was like a traditional ska night or something. So we
I
just
think it
really
was,
pushed
yeah.
hard.
You wanted to get the hell out of Dodge before the skinheads come after you?
No, we thought we outsmarted the whiskey because they're like, oh, you could buy a 12-pack of Corona for $30. And we're like, well, we'll go buy a case of Budweiser for 20 and sneak it in the guitar case.
Yeah.
Oh, we're so smart, and
Oh,
it
yeah.
worked, but
Yeah,
But
it's
we
either
actually-
sneaking the beer in or sneaking out without having to pay your percentage of merch at the whiskey.
I remember there was one guy who was really pissed because we got paid, I think, $26 as a band that night.
Ooh.
And there was one guy who was talking to me and he was like, who are you guys? I've been in LA for 15 years and I still have to pay to play at the whiskey. Who are you blowing to get this gig? You're just really pissed off about it. And I was like, I don't know, man. We made $26, so rethink your life choices. Go away. I don't know what to tell you.
Lots of good times back then.
Good
Well-
times because of folks like you, man.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you. Thank you for everything, Daryl.
Well,
Definitely.
yeah, well, that's our whole objective.
Yeah.
Our whole objective now with Jose and I doing this is to still spread the word, to kind of reconnect with the bands from yesteryear and from now, especially you guys with the reunion, doing that. Plus, I mean, I've always loved your music, so why not try to promote you? So that's what our whole intention is with this whole Ska History Hour, is for bands from the past and present to try to spread awareness. So I look all blurry now. I don't know what happened.
Hey, it looks good. I will say we probably forgot to mention other people that were, instrumental in our success, people that, weren't in music but put us up in towns around, people that were supporting us in the Bay Area, people that were putting us up in Colorado and wherever else. Remember Martin in Idaho, Chris, who just
Yep.
hooked us up? He was like the unofficial mayor and a physics teacher, and there's just so many people that were
And our sound
kind
guy.
to us. And our sound guy. And our sound guy.
One of the most important, the sound guy. Got to get those levels right. Well, thank you so much. We appreciate your time.
Thank you, Daryl.
Everyone stay safe.
Thank you, Jose.
Thank you.
Thank you for everything. All
Yeah,
right.
Daryl, Jose, thank you so much.
All right. Take care, y'all.
Aloha.
Mahalo, man. Stay tuned for
Mahalo.
the live stream. Thank you. We'll stay in touch.
For sure. Take care, y'all.